Hello guys, how are you all? So today I'm again with a new topic. In our last class we discussed the default length of a character variable, which was 8, and in case we want to increase the length of a character variable, how to do that. We discussed the length statement. We also discussed how to read a date variable or a date format, and the default date or the origin date for SAS. We discussed that part. We were moving ahead with the input methods, and we covered named input method and column input method. In case you want to check that again, created I have put it each and everything into the previous video. You can check that. So now today we'll talk about a different input method, and which is format input method. So format input method, basically we use the plus symbol, which indicates from where you want to start reading your variable. Let's say this is our data which we want to read, and the variable is id, name, age, and color. We have two numeric variables and two character variables here. So let's say this is the id, and let under the format input method, first we have to indicate from where you want to start reading your variable. In case there is a space before this record, we have to start reading is this from +1. If no space, then we should start with +0. So here before 100 there is no space, so I'll be putting +0 before the name of the variable. So the name of the variable is id, and before id there is no space, so my pointer will start from +0, then the name of the variable and the length of the variable. So the length of the variable is 3 here, 3 dot. After the length we have to put dot. That is the part of syntax. We done with this part. In case we want to use 4 in place of 3 here, means you are including that space which is before name and after id. So the next pointer will start from 0. I hope it makes sense to you. For id variable, before reading id variable there is no space, so that's why I'm starting my pointer from +0, then the name of the variable and the length of the variable. So length of the variable is 3 because I'm not including a space. In case you want to include the space, so you put 4 in place of 3, and then if again while reading name variable, your pointer will start from 0. But I have given length as 3, means I'm not including a space, so the next pointer for name variable will start from +1. And the length of name variable, so the maximum length of name variable is 11, so I have given 11 to this. This is the character variable, that's why I put a dollar symbol. And then again next variable is age. Again I am not using a space with the length of name variable, so my pointer will start from +1, name of the variable and the length of the variable. You notice here that for length of age I am giving 3, but the length of age is 2, right? So why I'm using 3 here? Because I am including this space into this variable. So the 3 is there. So there is no space before reading character variable. So my counter will start from 0. So format input method, we have to use +0 or +1. If there is a space before the variable, I'll be using +1. If there is no space, so I'll be using +0. And then the length of the variable. This is the syntax which you will be applying for format input method. No changes for reading the data. Same data you can read with column input method as well. But this is one of the option which SAS has given to you. In case in certification you go that you have to read this particular variable using format input method only. So you should know that under format input method we are using +0 and +1. +0 without a space, +1 no with a space, and the length of the variable. You simply select this and then click on that running man, and here is the output. The id, name, age, color, everything is there. And it has been stored to which location? Library work, and demo 4 under work. This is a temporary library because I haven't defined any library here. So it will go to the temporary. Why into temporary? Because temporary, the work is the temporary library and that is the default location. Clear with this part? So now we'll talk about a different input method, which is absolute input method. So into the absolute input method, the format for writing absolute input method is @ symbol and the length of the variable. We start from the pointer where the pointer hold for a particular record. So we see here for the same record, my pointer is starting from first position. Indexing starts from 1 in SAS. So @1, I'm starting @1 and the length of first variable is 3. So @1, name of the variable and 3. 3 is the length of the variable. Then 4 at 4 space, 4 is at space is at 4 place, means 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 at 4 place we have a space. So I'm not using space anywhere into absolute input method. No space combined while defining the length of a particular variable or putting a range for a particular variable. You will not be using space for that part. So @1, you are starting from @1 till 3. Then 4 is the space. Again, we come to the next variable. So we are starting next variable from pointer 5. Then the length of the name variable, which is 11. So name will go till 11 and started from which position? 5th. Then 5 plus 11 is what? 16, and 1 is the space which is after name variable here. So next variable will start reading from 17th position. So we'll start reading age variable from 17, 17, and the length of the variable which is 2, 19, and the same thing will happen for the race variable. So we are starting a pointer from 20th position of this particular index and it will go till length of the race variable, which is 5. So into the absolute input method, we have to remember that the pointer start from @. We do not include space under absolute input method. You start from @, then the length of a particular variable, then space, then the length of a particular variable, and we are done with this part. We simply select this and run. You select this part and run. Then you see that we didn't find any output which is not printed. So just to print the output, we have to use the proc statement, proc print, and the data equals to what you want to print, demo 5 semicolon, and then run as your closing statement. That's it. So you select again and run and you check, your output will get printed. Here it is. So you see all the variables are there and we have properly read our data. So that was absolute. So you now understand the difference between format input method and the absolute input method. Format, the pointer start from +0 and +1. For the absolute input method, we start from the @ symbol and there is no space while defining the range for each and every variable under absolute input method. So now you know multiple input methods. One is the named input method where we have spaces, we have equal to symbol into a data with the name of the variable. So we call that a named input method, very rarely used. We discussed that in previous video. Then the column input method where we are defining range for a particular variable. So whatever will come into that range will go to that variable. That's it. Then we discuss about format input method. Format input method we use +0 and +1 symbol, which indicates from where we need to start reading our variable, then the length of a variable. Next is the absolute input method where we are using @ symbol and space is not combined for the absolute input method. We have to give the specific location from where you want to read this particular variable, and what is the location which you have provided for that variable. So anything which is coming under that range will go to that variable. That's it. So now we talk about the mix input method. Mix input method is nothing, just the combination of all the input methods which we have covered till now. So you simply check this part, what we are doing here. Demo 6 is the data set which we are creating, and it will go to the work location. We are using multiple variable. One is PID, name, age, and race. The same data set we are using for that part. And you see here what type of input method we have applied to this PID variable. This is absolute. You can check because here we are using @ symbol. And what input method is for name variable? Plus symbol is there, means we are using format input method. And you see for the age variable we are giving range, so that is a column input method. And for race variable again we are using absolute input method. So by combining all input methods together, we create a mixed input method. So most of the cases in certification as well, you will be getting the questions in related to mixed input method as well. Only let's say I'm giving you 5 variables and I'm specifying that first variable you have to read using format input method, second variable you need to use using column input method, and so the same way for the apart from the all variables as well. So I just want to check how you are applying the syntax. Either you are aware of it, how we write absolute input method, how we write format, and how we write column input method. So mixed input method is just a combination of multiple input methods which you already covered. So to combine it once again, first PID variable we are using absolute, for name variable we are using format, for the age variable we are using column input method, and for race that is again absolute input method. You simply select and run it. We haven't uses the proc statement, so let me write that first. Proc print data equals to, and the name of the variable which is demo 6 semicolon, and then run, which is a closing statement. Let's run. So you select and run this part, and your output will get printed. Here it is. That's it. So there is no changes to the output, just the changes of the syntax only, so that we can understand what exactly the syntax for a particular input method. We'll be covering some more input methods as well. So here we covered these 3 methods: column, format, and mix. In case of any confusion, you can write a comment under the video link for any query, and for a specific topic, in case you want me to create video for SAS, you feel free to write me that part. So thank you guys. I'll come again with some new topics. Meanwhile, happy learning. Take care. Bye bye.